The sport of boxing can afford someone the advantage of being great, but it has to be proven in the ring. And when you do have fighters who challenge themselves for greatness, the acknowledgement of their abilities, and apply it for greatness, is something that can't be denied. So when we talk about a fighter like Claressa Shields, she is definitely the GOAT, and it applies toward her approach to the sport. It applies toward her mentality toward competition and trying to be the best that you can be. Don't sleep on Shields, because she is not gonna sleep on the sport of boxing. Let's talk about this a little further and her thoughts about the failed negotiations with Natasha Jonas, the junior middleweight unified champion from the UK. There's a reason why I love to watch and follow Claressa T-Rex Shields, the GOAT. She's a throwback in the sport of boxing to what is so familiar about days gone by with the competitive nature of championship caliber fighters, even championship contending fighters. But the sport is so watered down and diminished in current times that fighters like herself can't seem to find the correct opponents who are just going to either put up or shut up. We're seeing it so much. And when she comes out, she usually performs at a high level. Recently, she was in talks with unified champion at 154 pounds, Natasha Jonas from the UK. Now, Claressa has fought at 154 before, and she's currently undisputed at 160. Jonas, who has entered boxing and had some success and setbacks, is currently enjoying her personal record of 13-2 with 1 draw and 8 KOs. Her most recent outing saw her perform where she got a chance to win a hard-fought decision over Marie-Eve Dicaire, and that was in November of 2022. It was for the IBF, WBC, and WBO super welterweight titles. The fight was in Manchester, UK, and Jonas came out with a unanimous decision. But it was a tough fight for her. She boxed very well. I covered it. I talked about it in a great video, and I gave Jonas her props. But I suggested also, if Jonas wanted to make the most of that opportunity, to face Claressa would have been the best thing that she could do as far as going forward in her career. Now, Claressa, whose record now is 13-0 with 2 KOs after defeating Savannah Marshall, her nemesis from the amateur days, in October of 2022. Claressa has put silence on any naysayers or detractors for anyone to step to or challenge what she accomplished thus far as a middleweight. But she had even talked about dropping down to 154 to face a couple of fighters that would have threatened to move up to fight certain individuals, fighters with the names like Cecilia Brækhus and Jessica McCaskill. Thing is, some of them wanted to face each other, but not necessarily Claressa, who has, in her recent DAZN boxing interview, given an understanding that it's really her skill set, along with her competitive nature, that really challenges some of these other fighters. And I knew eventually this was going to come about. I knew that this was going to become a thing in women's boxing eventually. And just as Claressa has paved the way for some of these fighters, there's something else that's going to be coming in off of these circumstances, of her proving that she's the best around. That is going to be the fact that some of these fighters will start to decline to fight the best. We're having an influx right now where they're enjoying, in women's boxing, the celebrity, the acknowledgement, the fanfare, and adulation. But as is a common element in man, and when I say man, I'm talking about mankind. It'll stand true for women as well. Eventually, we're going to see it. Some will not necessarily want to risk. They won't want to put it on the line. And this will further separate the best from the rest. Just as she is pioneering so many avenues currently, this is going to follow through with Claressa. Because the best of the best, outside of whom she hasn't fought yet, there's no one saying, I want to challenge the GOAT. No one. And so she's finding other ways to challenge herself, even going into mixed martial arts, but still having her eyes set on boxing. And she understands all they need to do is say her name, and she's ready. The failed negotiations with Jonas is because Claressa says that Natasha wants to price herself out of the opportunity. And I totally believe that. You know why? Because they don't want to acknowledge that Claressa is who she is in the sport. And when I say they, I'm talking about various sports writers, various contemporaries. But with Claressa comes an opportunity to get that bag. But you can also price yourself out of an opportunity, because though she has the accomplishments, merits, celebrity, and now has suffice economic means, you can't rape and rob through thinking that you can get overcompensated. Think about what I just said, being overcompensated. If you were to get in the ring against Claressa Shields, Natasha Jonas, and defeat her, a return match would garner you the payday that you're trying to ask for going in on a first go round. But see, some of these fighters of today, because they have been, and I'm not talking about the women when I say this, they have been overpaid. They feel that overpayment should come in all times. No, You have to accomplish something first. Now, when it comes down to the women, yes, they haven't been paid as much as possibly they should, but I don't believe that someone should be overcompensated just because they get in the ring with Claressa. There are people who have earned the right, as she has. 2-time gold medalist, 3-time undisputed champion in 13 matches. Who else is doing this? When it came down to her discussing other fighters, such as Katie Taylor, and the difference between the two, she has given Katie her flowers. Claressa has talked about how great a fighter Katie is, but only wishes that if they could have been closer in weight where they could somehow face one another so she could dispel the fact that one might be better than the other. She wants to be able to prove it. But as she pointed out, she, meaning Claressa, is a complete fighter. And she has done so much within her 13-fight span to show her skills of offense, defense, footwork, ability to take a punch, ability to deliver a punch, ability to be a person that can command ring generalship and ring IQ, a complete fighter. She pointed out how Katie, who has good footwork, and that be the measure of her defense, but comes out of matches with various bruises, bumps, and lumps because her upper body defense, upper head movement is not necessarily on point as it should be. But it doesn't mean that she couldn't get better. It just means that these are parts of her attributes that haven't been developed enough to make her a more complete fighter. And when a fighter like Claressa is observant enough to acknowledge that, it lets you know that she is looking at the correct things in boxing. Just as she's looking at Natasha Jonas, who may want to cash out in a fight against Shields. And again, Claressa is not going to allow anyone to use her, you see, because Jonas, who's approaching 40 fast, is 38 years old. She's 5'8" and a southpaw. Claressa is 28, okay? And she's 5'8", orthodox, and holding it down at 160. Who is the fighter who deserves the lion's share? She pointed out the fact that Jonas is very popular in the UK. That's her home. But Claressa, who has performed in the UK several times now, and of course the US, Claressa has pointed out, I'm popular on both sides of the world, internationally, and I'm number one in the world. You can't sleep on that, nor should anyone want to. So the acknowledgments have to come with also respect. And currently, they're not respecting Miss Shields. And I, like her, can see these things. It is time for people to really wake up and support the sport in a natural way. Stop the bull crap and acknowledge these fighters for who they are and what they are. Real champions bring it in a real manner. And that's what Claressa has done her career. And she'll continue to do that. And no one's going to be able to ride those coattails. But it's going to require that someone challenge those coattails. And right now, there doesn't appear to be anyone on the horizon to step up to that challenge. But what do you think? This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you think about the GWOAT, who also let us know on the DAZN Boxing Show that she has a big announcement coming soon. I can't wait to hear what it is. I'm following this sister, and I give all respect to her and hope the best for her. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.